Just because things seem invincible doesn't mean they are invincible. There is kryptonite everywhere. Let's make one thing very clear. The Fed's actions speak much louder than their words. Jerome Powell told us back in 2018 that in 2019 we would have multiple rate hikes. He told us back in 2018 that the Fed was going to be tightening up their balance sheet. Well, here we are in 2019, and the markets have rolled right over Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. December 2018 was a major warning sign to you, to me, to the Federal Reserve, to Jerome Powell, exactly what is coming. We lost 20% of the market in December in 2018. And I think that this really shook Jerome Powell, and this woke a lot of people up. Yet most of America is completely asleep. They have no idea how bad this economy really is. They have no idea how fragile it is. This economy and these markets cannot stand on its own 2 feet without the help of the Federal Reserve. We are heading into very, very dangerous times here economically in America. And you better be prepared for it, because this cannot be stopped. We are past the point of no return, and we're seeing massive warning signs all over the place. So here we are in 2019, no rate hikes. The Fed tightening is ending this summer, and you have to ask yourself, why is the Fed changing course? What does the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell know that most Americans do not know? Most of you probably know the answer to that. They know that a major recession is not too far out, and they're very, very worried about it. You know, the fact is, every central bank in the entire world is carrying enormous balance sheets. They have all turned dovish, including our Federal Reserve. None can reduce their balance sheets. The ECB is still at negative rates with no end in sight. Our central banks, for 10 years now, have not been able to normalize. 10 years since the last recession, since the collapse back in 2008-9, our central banks, or our central bank, cannot normalize. And the central banks around the world cannot normalize. That should tell you that very, very bad things are coming, and that you better be ready, you better be prepared, because there is no turning this around. I know that a lot of people out there believe that the Ponzi scheme is going to continue. It is not going to continue. And we are seeing the signs of that taking place right now. The economy is so weak right now. The stock market is propped up with artificial liquidity. The stock market is dead without the intervention of the central bank. If this stock market was real, we would be nowhere near the levels that we're at right now. This is all artificial injections by the central bank. And again, they cannot normalize. It would crash the capital markets across the globe. What is the deficit going to be when this recession hits America? It's going to be well over $1 trillion. And how are they going to fund this? Wait till you see what is coming to America. The amount of hyperinflation, the destruction of the US dollar to continue. They're going to have to print money to pay these deficits, these debts. America is bankrupt right now, and they are going to blow up what is left of the US dollar trying to save this thing. It is not going to work. You better get ready. You better be prepared, because if you are not your own central bank, you are in big trouble. The central banks are preparing right now. Why aren't you? The Fed's medicine in my opinion, we can use this analogy. The Fed's medicine is wearing off. It doesn't have the potency that it once had. All they have left is quantitative easing 4 and rate cuts. And at 2.25%, they don't have much room to cut unless they go negative. So, I mean, could you imagine? You're going to be paying even more money to put your money in a bank. What can you expect in the near future is increased inflation, less growth, and less production. This is going to be stagflation. This is coming to America. We're already seeing it begin, and you must really be paying attention to what's happening in this country. I believe that if you're not awake and paying attention to what's going to happen, you are going to be a casualty, an economic casualty. You could be a physical casualty if you're not careful. There are going to be people that are going to be homeless. What happens when people can't get their medicine, when they can't feed their kids? We're going to see a surge in crime. You're going to see robberies, break-ins. People are going to be breaking into your house for food. I mean, there's just so much going on. When you look at the amount of people in America that are medicated on psychotropics and pharmaceuticals, what happens when they can no longer pay for their medications? It is really going to be a dark time in America. And I don't see how people cannot see what is happening to their country right now, and what is right around the corner. This is much closer than most of you even think. This feels so much like 2007 to me. It's almost like I'm in the Matrix. The stock market is at almost an all-time high right now. The economy is getting weaker, noticeably getting weaker, and yet everyone is telling me how great everything is. Whether it's people I know, whether it's the media, everybody's telling me how great everything is. This reminds me so much of 2007. I remember talking to people in the real estate business in 2007, and they would just tell me how great things were. And they were in so much denial. Things were falling apart, and yet people were telling me how great things are. You know, back in the day, back in that period around 2007, after the crash happened in 2008, 2009, 10% of the mortgages defaulted back in that period. And the crazy thing is, there are so many more people in real estate. The mom and pop investors and the big giant corporate investors who have bought huge amounts of real estate, huge amounts of homes. That is why I believe that this next crash is going to be so much worse than the one in 2008, because so many more investors are in the real estate market, especially these big corporate investors. And when this thing sinks, they're going to default and they're going to walk away from these properties, and there is going to be a lot of vacant homes, and we're going to see a lot of vacant commercial real estate. I don't know where you live, but around here in Riverside County, I'm seeing new vacant buildings literally popping up every week, everywhere. So I think the commercial market is really going to get devastated like it did back in 2008. I got an article here on Zero Hedge today. Manhattan homes are staying on the market for the longest time in 7 years. That should tell you something right there. Another one on Wolf Street. Billions in Toronto real estate bought anonymously with funds of unknown origin. These are companies, corporations that are, as I just said, getting into real estate, buying properties, buying homes. And now these corporations could be from anywhere in the world. They could be American. And so how is this going to affect these corporations when the retail or when the real estate market takes a huge dump and these corporations and these companies just get their clocks cleaned? So it's going to be really, really devastating. More news. Credit cards. Let's talk credit cards for a minute. There was a CNBC report, buying groceries ranked as the top expense with credit card users. 28% of the respondents said that they use credit cards to pay for essentials such as rent and utilities. This is not a positive sign for any economy. This is not a good sign. This is not an economy heading in the right direction. This is not a healthy economy. These are massive warnings to you to get out of debt, maybe lower your standard of living a little bit, save some money, put some cash away, acquire some metals, do the right thing. Be very cautious and be very conservative right now. We have, as I talked about yesterday, this catastrophic flooding in the Midwest. This is all over the news. This is on Zero Hedge today. This is gonna just destroy so many farmers in the Midwest. They're going bankrupt. But what it's going to do to you and I is you're going to see prices at the grocery store on your vegetables, your fruits, your meat. It's going to be going up because this natural disaster that is occurring in the Midwest with this massive flooding, killing cattle, destroying fields, we are going to be paying the price financially right here across the U.S. Prices are going up at the grocery store. I want to talk about one more story, and that is Citibank to sell confiscated Venezuelan gold from Maduro deal. This is on Zero Hedge today. Back in 2015, Maduro needed to raise cash. So he put up gold with Citibank, got cash, did not pay the cash back. In return, Citibank confiscated the gold. Now the gold is going to be deposited in New York. So it is now the property of Citibank. Now there's an excess of $250 million in gold that they did not give back to Maduro. It's been seized by the United States government. So the moral of the story is this: do not put your precious metals in a bank. Do not put too much cash in your bank. Just have enough to pay the bills. If you need to access this in an emergency, you are not going to be able to get to it. The banks will confiscate it. They will confiscate whatever in your safety deposit boxes. They may close down accounts. You could see a bank run. You could see bail-ins. We don't know what. But this is just another example of when you're not holding it, you don't own it. I'm going to close this video by saying this. When you look at the Venezuelan gold, people will go, they always say, oh, gold, it's worthless, it's archaic, it's not money. But yet they're going to sell that gold, and it's going to be, it's probably already got multiple buyers. Over $1 billion worth of gold will be sold instantly. It will be absorbed into these markets in seconds. Major countries around the world, every central bank across the globe is hoarding precious metals. China, Russia, India, and a list of countries all over the world are hoarding gold and silver. Gold and silver are the two most undervalued assets in the entire world. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an investor. I'm just a person sharing with you what I believe is the right thing and what I'm doing. This is how I'm running my life. This is the steps I'm taking to protect myself, my future, to ensure my wealth, to ensure my future. I'm stacking gold and silver because they are the two most undervalued assets in the world. They are the only true money. Paper is not money. Gold and silver is money. It's been here for over 5,000 years. It will always be here. It is God's money. It is a physical asset. And remember, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Take a good look at what the central banks are doing. Take a look at what multiple countries around the world are doing. They are hoarding real money like gold and silver. They are taking paper money and exchanging it for real money like gold and silver. The people at the very top, the central banks, the globalists, the 1% or the 0.0001%, they know what's coming. They've been preparing. They know what is right around the corner. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. If you are not your own central bank, you are going to get devastated when this thing hits. I'm not saying that gold and silver is the end-all be-all. There are a lot of other things you're going to need. But financially, it's the only thing that's going to matter besides a gun, a lot of bullets, food and water, and and all those other items that you're going to need. But financially, set yourself up, because when this collapse is over and we get back into a monetary system, gold and silver are going to rule the world. And he who has the gold and silver rules the world. Guys, have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Thanks for taking the time out of your very busy day, your busy schedules to watch this video. Please share it. Please comment. Please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe. Have a wonderful evening, and we will talk very soon.